versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
For Lordaeron!
Hello, and we're back, even though I'm not done with my dinner yet, because Ron versus Adithya is coming up to determine who's going to be playing, well, me, next round. And I do not want to miss this series. Let's get the double spectate going. We see Secret Mage versus Dude Paladin. I'm gonna bring up the deck lists real quick. Once I rejigger my screens to properly capture them.
The light dims, but
So we see pretty strong openings from both players. Mana Worm is by far the best turn one that Secret Mage can muster. And going into turn 2 Coin, Kirintor Mage, Explosive Runes is definitely really strong. Especially given that he can set up Counterspell before turn 4 going into Call of Arm, or Call 2 Arms rather. Give me a second as I set up the deck lists. So the Paladin has two 1/1s, Righteous Protectors, but they don't represent particularly much of a threat. He spends a Divine Favor to try to test for Counterspell, but the Counterspell is coming out now, as Adithya knows not to play it too early. And so suddenly, with Counterspell established and a really strong Counterspell and Runes established and a really strong board from this mage, it's suddenly very difficult to play as a Paladin. You really want to get Call to Arms off, but you can't. Any minion you play is going to get Runes. We're going to see the Crystal Runner come out and start pushing even more on board after a Primordial Glyph picks up. Definitely not Glacial Mysteries, probably Potion of Polymorph. Wow, he does go for the Glacial Mysteries, interesting. I guess at 6 mana it can pull the second Counterspell and Glyph, but, I mean, Primordial Glyph, yeah. No, Primordial... Explosive Runes. Jeez, names are hard. But, it's so interesting to see that choice. Glacial Mysteries, for the most part of its existence, has been a meme deck, so we'll see how that ends up.
Job done.
I am unfortunately having some technical difficulties getting the deck list to show properly. OBS does not like me. Okay, there we go. That's the Secret Mage from Adithya, I believe. Yeah. And then let's try to get the other one. In the meantime, we see that the Paladin does finally manage to get Call to Arms off after spending the other Divine Favor to eat counterspells. But even so, the Mage has a strong board advantage, sets up yet another counterspell, though this one's less useful. But we are going to see a big turnaround next turn. Sunkeeper Tarim lets Ron deal with the Crystal Runners here for really cheap. And he's going to feel good about this. I think you sacrifice the Drago Shill or just get more stuff to play a guy, and then next turn you have a strong Werewolf. And suddenly it's looking pretty bad for the Mage. I think he regrets picking the Glacial Mysteries about now. It's not going to do all that much. He's going to get Fireknight's Portal, sends it right to face because he just needs to survive until the turn 10 Pyroblast. And that is a really important top deck, because that lets him know that he has an out and all he has to do is survive 2 turns, which should be fairly possible given that he can block. And that at 8 HP, the Paladin player might be focused on trading. It's going to be fairly close. He still has to survive 2 turns. It's going to be rough, but we'll see if he manages.
To choose.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I think the Paladin can still kill him, but he has to recognize that Pyroblast is a big threat here, and he has to go face right now. Or as quickly as possible. And we do pull the second set of deck lists on.
Reporting for duty.
There we go. Sorry about that. Still shaking off the vestiges of a code. And yeah, so the Paladin now has 5, 7, 11, 13 damage on board. Which is a little scary, but with Rallying Blade in hand, it is not yet enough to pop the block unless you get something like a Light Fuse Stegodon adapt off the top. And if he can't pop the block this turn, then this is looking really good for our mage player. Again, there's no heal as we can see in this Paladin deck. And yeah, it looks like Adithya is going to take the first match. Or the first game. Gotta love it. Gotta love Ice Block, gotta love Pyroblast. This has to feel bad if you're Ron, but what can you do about it? And yep, he pops the block, but we know that Pyroblast is coming and about to end this game no matter what Ron does. And let me quickly just update the score.
Reporting for duty.
Well played.
And Pyroblast with a well played. Always one of the more tilting sounds to listen to. So with the Paladin gone for Ron, let's see what other decks he has. I'm guessing, so Ron has Zoo, Spell Hunter, and Spiteful Priest. I'm guessing one of Spell Hunter and Spiteful Priest got banned. Let me quickly ask for bans. I think they're going to the next game immediately, given the lag I'm currently experiencing. Yep. Well, that is... I'll ask for bans anyways. So it looks like the Spiteful Priest did survive the bans.
You asked for it.
So I'm guessing Spell Hunter probably got banned. Zulok just isn't a particularly intimidating deck right now, even though I'm running it. Oh, he did ban Zulok. So XF4 bans Warlock, and then Ron bans Paladin. So I can also update the overlay to reflect that. So Ron still has Priest and Hunter remaining, and XCF4 Adithya has Mage. Let me just quickly check the decks. Mage, Priest, and Hunter.
Job done.
So one thing I do want to point out is that Aditya's Hunter deck is the Secret Hunter with Katharina and Barnes. That was popularized by, I believe, Brian Kibler. It's a deck that I've played a little on ladder, and I really like that deck, but I did not have the guts to bring it here. Anyways, Mana Worm again, turn 1, which is really strong. There's only 2 Mana Worms, and 2 Cabal Lackeys is the only 1 drops in that deck. So, good for XF4 in the top. Ron pulls Netherspite Historian, but doesn't get another Duskbreaker off it. Gets Twilight Drake, which is pretty strong, but it's not nearly as strong and spiteful as it is in combo, I think, even though he does run 2 Twilight Drakes in his deck list. But, again, turn 2 Coin Territor Mage Explosive Runes is brutal, and this is going to continue to be a difficult game for Ron here. We could definitely see this snowball out of control with a strong opening like that from the Mage. And yep, Adithya senses blood in the water, he's going face. Luckily Ron does have a Duskbreaker here to stabilize, which he's almost definitely going to need to pop. But 18 HP is starting to get dangerous against this Mage deck that has so much burn in it. 1 Pyroblast, 2 Firelands, 2 Fireballs, and 2 Frostbolts, as well as what you can discover off Primordial Glyph. Right now he is just going to pressure with a casual 4 mana 5/5, which in today's Hearthstone like isn't even broken. Which really says something about the state of the game. Secret Agent coming through, pulls block could be really good, but I think right now he might just want Fireball for spot removal, and that might save him more than block will. But both of them I think are reasonable options. The Valet is obviously a little weaker than the other two because Priest does not have any secrets that it can use.
We have many
Another Kirin mage, ice block off the top. Obviously block is not going to be particularly relevant here for the mage, but as the priest player you're like, oh god, it's another secret I have to play around, and obviously it's free with the Kirin mage that he's going to play anyways. He also has Aluneth in hand, which is really good for him because it lets him refill, and it's going to make the burn plan so strong. Priest is already at 12 HP. And we're almost definitely going to see just an Aluneth turn into Fireland's portal. And yep.
You grasp the infinite, mage.
Frostbolt is more burn, Frostbolt is great. Medivh's Valet is more burn with Ice Block. And so all Adithya has to do is pretty much survive to turn 10, and that's going to be another win for him. We will see if he can manage. There is starting to become a very powerful board presence for this Spiteful Priest, even though he hasn't been able to pick up either Spiteful Summoner. And then we're going to see a free from Amber next turn. Actually, maybe not, because he's probably going to be scared as counterspell. But yeah, Ron understands that he needs to heal face every turn, especially with Aluneth down. There's going to be so much burning coming. That's 6, 9, 12, and 17 points of burn. And
excuse me, you are
I'm curious not to see Firelands this turn. I think he's going to go for Fireball instead. That is interesting. I think I would have liked to see Firelands this turn just because it develops another minion. And then next turn you could do like Frostbolt, Valet, Fireball or something. Or so I think he might have messed up the ordering a little bit here. We'll see if this comes back to bite him. Because his block is about to get popped. I think he... that's gonna be a difficult. He needs to survive one more turn. So I think you... I don't know. He's probably thinking about either Primordial Glyph or Firelands. But if you do one, you can't do the other, and so he is just gonna go for Firelands and hope that he gets either the second Fireball, or with the Aluneth draws, or pulls one off Primordial Glyph.
My hand is
And counterspell gets burned, not a big deal at all, and the block is about to get popped right now. I mean, there's a pretty easy block plop. Dustbreaker and 1/3 hit face, rest things trade, doesn't really matter. So what the priest player, or what the mage player rather, needs to pull from Primordial Glyph next turn to try to delay for turn 10 Pyroblast. Come on, you need to hear yourself, Ron. Is either another burn spell to go with Frostbolt, even Flame Geyser, the weakest burn spell, will do. Or Frost Nova to... well, Frost Nova actually won't stop lethal because Song Stealer can silence off freeze, but Adithya doesn't know that. Or he's looking for another ice block so that he can stay alive another turn. So we'll see. He's gonna play some Sork Apprentices just to get things on board because he's gonna be able to afford those. Oh, he also has Arcane Intellect. That's a good. That's gonna let him dig deeper for potential fireballs. And Frostbolt. Frostbolt is lethal. Disgusting. That is gonna be a 2-0 for the Tempo Mage from Adithya. I swear I'm mangling that name, but whatever. Pronunciation is hard. And Ron's gonna be down to his Spell Hunter. So Spell Hunter is an interesting deck. It's very strong somehow, despite the fact that I feel like it's a meme, and also despite the fact that it doesn't run either of the quote-unquote Spell Hunter defining cards, Rockdalar and To My Side. But well, at the end of the day, I mean, the Barnes Dash Rush package is so strong that, and Rockdalar is so slow that we've seen people been cutting Rockdalar. So this version is running 2 Arcane Shots and 1 Grievous Bite. So I think this is like starting to become more, or has become more popular in recent days because it's stronger against aggro. But it is a little weird to still see 2 Flanking Strikes, which have fallen a little out of favor, I believe. Otherwise though, I mean, this is a very strong anti-aggro. Cabal Lackey Counterspell on turn 1 going first always feels a little bad because that counterspell is just gonna, eat a coin. And Spell Hunter in general is a totally vicious matchup for for Aggro Mage, which actually makes me question why Ron didn't bring this out first instead of the Spiteful Priest he played last game, because Counterspell is pretty much the only relevant secret for the mage here, because Explosive Runes pretty much doesn't have any real targets to hit. And so this does mean that and the hunter can just keep pushing face damage, face damage, face damage. So for the mage to win, you essentially need an early Aluneth and just burn, burn, burn. The Tempo Mage also doesn't have a good way of dealing with Barn Charge, and that can also just be completely game winning. Right now, I think Ron's debating whether or not he wants to play the coin to test for Counterspell, because I think part of him's like, well, who plays Lackey Counterspell into the coin? Well, on the other hand, if he plays like, I guess Cat Trick or something, I don't know, his hand is sort of awkward. He does go for the coin, pops the Counterspell, and we'll see what he chooses to play here. I could see Cat Trick, I could see Explosive. Yeah, he's gonna go for Explosive just to kill off the minion and save himself from some face damage. I would have been totally fine with seeing Grievous Bite too. I don't think any of them are particularly bad options. Now Adithya plays the Kirin Mage. I think he's sort of regretting playing the Counterspell so early, as he doesn't have another secret to bring with it. Eagle Hornbow clears it off, nice and easy. And if you're the mage player here, I think you're hoping to draw Aluneth as quickly as possible, because that is your main win con. One thing I should mention that I didn't talk about earlier is that this is a sort of it's interesting that this secret mage is also running Medivh. It's not something we see very commonly in these secret mage decks, but it can be something that can help pound that extra bit of damage against the Spell Hunter.
I'm late. I'm late.
Ron here plays 2 secrets, setting up for the turn 5 Greater Emerald Spellstone, which is obviously a super strong card, but it will get sort of dealt with by the Primordial Glyph Meteor taking out 3 of the 4 wolves. That being said, that does enable the Cat Trick to pop, which is gonna result in Ron continuing to have a pretty strong board presence. And we see Counterspell instead of the Meteor. I guess our mage player here isn't particularly worried about the wolves, which could come to bite him in the rear, as they represent a lot of damage. Felork Soul Fiend is a pretty good 3-drop. It's gonna die here, so it's like any other 3-attack 3-drop, I guess, but it does prevent the 5 damage to face, which is obviously very important here. Another Wandering Monster comes out. I think he's thinking about, yeah, Grievous Bite to clear out the 5-2 without taking too much damage. It's also an argument for like Unleash the Hound's Grievous or something. Alright, Grievous Bite also tanks the Counterspell. So that's both Counterspells down, which is like both relevant secrets. Another Wandering Monster is going to absorb another hit from the Crystal Runner, and the Hunter player is now just pounding in face damage. Meteor
Well played.
Meteor Ping and attack can clear out the board, but at 10 HP and facing down bow ping every turn, this is going to be incredibly hard for the mage player to recover. And I think we have to favor, I mean, I think Ron has this in the bag, but I've definitely called games too early in the past.
To my side.
And yep, Animal Companion fails to get Huffer. Clearly Ron hasn't played enough Hunter to be at 1 with the Wild, but I mean, he now has lethal next turn unless this Fireland Portal pulls off a miracle. Earth Elemental would be probably the strongest. Actually no, even Earth Elemental wouldn't stop lethal, because Hunter's Mark Unleash the Hounds would count through it. So yeah, that's just going to be game right there. And Ron claws one back. I mean, with how dominant this was, you do have to wonder about his choice to play Spiteful Priest game 2 instead of this deck, with how good its main matchup is. So Ron does in fact claw one game back. Step 1 for the reverse sweep. And Adithya finally loses his mage. Again, he has remaining the Priest deck, which is also Spiteful Priest, and then the Kibler Barnes Katharina Hunter. So I'm not particularly sure about how either of these decks fare against Spell Hunter, but my hunch is that I really don't know. I wish I was better at this game. We do see the Spiteful Priest come out, which, let me just quickly pull up the Vicious Syndicate. So I don't know the matchups very well because I don't play either deck. Oh, Barnes here is amazing for Ron. He's going to pull off the Barnes charge unless he draws Yashiraj in the next couple of turns. And according to VS, Spell Hunter versus Spiteful Priest is Spiteful Priest favored. Well, best of luck here.
You are the Shadow's puppet.
And turn 2 Shadow Ascendant isn't. Oh no, he draws the Yashiraj. No. Oh, that has to feel bad for Ron. For me personally, it's a poetic justice because Barnes Yashiraj is total BS and like, come on now. But that has to feel bad for Ron. Now he just has a bunch of spells without, you know, the really strong auto win that Barnes Yashiraj can be. That Stalker Rexar lets him win in a long-term value game, but Spiteful Priest can put up so much tempo pressure that we're gonna see whether or not Ron can weather the storm in the long run. We do see that the Priest player here does not yet have tracking picking up Lesser Emerald is really good, I think. That way your Catra can upgrade both Spellstones, yeah. We do see that the Priest player has not picked up Spiteful Summoner yet, which is one thing to be thankful for if you are Ron. But even so, I mean, like Nether Spite Historian's gonna come down, Scalebane, like this is gonna be very hard for the Hunter to stem the bleeding here. Catric's not gonna do anything here. There's no spells in this deck that aren't incredibly valuable. I think as a Priest player, you have to think about picking the Fairy Dragon just so you can curve it out right now. And I guess he's maybe worried about Explosive Trap, but I think I would have liked to see the Fairy Dragon come out. Animal Companion is not a great pickup, but it is better than playing just a 3-4 Barnes, which is honestly super depressing. But on the other hand, 4 mana for Animal Companion doesn't feel good either, and he's just gonna go ahead and coin out Spellstone so he can back-to-back Spellstone. Spellstone doesn't have a great matchup against Tar Creeper. Tar Creeper can sort of just ignore the Spellstones, but what can you do? Eats 2 attacks. Scalebane's gonna come down and keep snowballing the board for the Priest player, and you have to think that this game is very Priest favored at this point.
To my side.
This Animal Companion does pull the Faithful Huffer like it should, and I think he's wondering whether or not he uses the Hunter's Mark because he has 2 really dangerous minions that he has to deal with. I think you have to kill the Scalebane in this case, it's just such a strong card, but no, he leaves it alone. It's a curious play. I guess he understands that next turn he can Deathstalker Rexar to clear it off, but this does enable the Priest to make value trades and potentially heal it back up. We're gonna see Twilight Drake, and then I'm almost certain, yeah, he's gonna make a value trade and heal. This Twilight Drake is now pretty scary itself. Oh, he has to heal his face. Maybe this will go better for him than I thought. Although this Twilight Drake's out of range for for him to kill a Deathstalker Rexar. I think we could see something like Wandering Monster Barnes. That feels bad.
Tonight, a tale of terrible trust.
And now Adithya also knows that one of these 4 cards is Yashiraj and pretty much a dead card, which I'm sure makes him happy here. He chooses not to extend into a Wandering Monster, knowing that he can just keep playing the value game for now until he builds a unstoppable board. Because this Hunter does not have many come from behind mechanics that can really help him here. Explosive Trap doesn't work against the minions of this size. And looks like he's just gonna Hunter's Mark one of them, the more dangerous Twilight Drake, and pull the Deathstalker Rexar. So it's definitely possible for the Hunter to still win here. You can pull some really crazy beasts on Deathstalker that are untargetable by mind control potentially. And so that's probably his path to victory. We'll see what the Wandering Monster
Back to your
RNG's out
homes.
today. Standard 3-3, not a big deal. Twilight Drake survives the process. Free from Amber here is going to pull just a big minion and pop the cat trick. I think Adithya is totally fine with this. What does Kill Command do? He can like... Yeah, he's just going to go ahead and build a beast. Ooh, Weasel Tunneler. I don't actually know how Weasel Tunneler's Death Rattle interacts with Build a Beast. I feel like it does shuffle the built beast in, but I'm not 100% sure. And knowing the spaghetti code that this game is, I wouldn't be at all surprised with just shuffle the Tunneler in. Snow Flipper is always good for just free stats, but Giant Wasp, well, 2 stealth minions are really good just for being able to do a lot of damage. Looks like he's going to go for the Giant Wasp Hungry Megasaur, or Gentle Megasaur rather, which, not a bad option, but not something he's going to be able to play real quick. He's going to go off and pull the Spellstone now, which establishes a reasonable board, and as we see, he does not have... never mind, he totally has Duskbreaker. Say goodbye to your wolves.
Brilliant.
Everything's going up Millhouse.
Meddlesome insects.
And he has his Cobalt Scalebane to follow it up. Nice curve. No. Looks like he's saving the Scalebane for the Twilight Acolyte synergy, just in case he needs to. Twilight Acolyte either a big Zombeast or Yashiraj coming up, perhaps? Nope, he does end up Scalebaning anyways. He would rather have the Snowball, and I think I agree with him. Scalebane is just such a strong minion, and the Hunter has no good way of dealing with it right now. If he plays the Zombeast, he can't really do anything after. Grievous Bite doesn't do enough, and so we might see him try to build another beast that's a little more appropriate to this situation. Knuckles is fun, but it's unlikely it's going to survive very long, and it's also going to get mind controlled. Grandmother is just too slow, and R&B Gal is horribly understated. This is not a great pool for him to pick from, and I don't think he's particularly happy about this. Stone Tusk Explorer is always good here because charge is super amazing and like one of the best things, but on the other hand, he does have to deal with the fact that he's... Ooh, okay, that's actually pretty good. I like that. I like that. Iron Beak Owl, which silences off the buff from the Duskbreaker, and then charge, which lets him push in some damage. And it's a cheap beast, which lets him kill command. That's pretty awesome. Unfortunately, Priest here continues to be able to snowball the board, and we are probably going to go back to the Zombeast drawing board. Flanking Strike lets him deal with 3-3, but there's still 2 minions on board that are vaguely threatening. Angry Chicken is a meme, Hive Queen is pretty good, I didn't even see the third option. Snow Flipper is good as usual. Duskboar is not that great just because it's really easy to remove, and Bloodworm is way overcosted. So he chose what I believe is a Pterodax Fledgling? I think it's Hatchling. Which is 2 mana 2/2 evil, no, 3 mana 2/2 adapt, and he merged that with Snow Flipper Penguin just for stats. Not a particularly threatening minion, and probably not one that just bothered to. What happens here? Just loses the attack. Not one that Adithya is gonna bother mind controlling. He's saving it for a much scarier beast, like, you know, Yashiraj. I wonder if we are gonna see the Yashiraj come down now. So risky against Spiteful Priest because you know they have the mind controls waiting. Silithus Swarmer is terrible, Alley Cat's alright, Pantry Spider is pretty bad. Probably gonna go for the Alley Cat. Gastropod's great, Boar with Alley Cat is sort of underwhelming, and Stegodon's just decent stats in a body, but none of these are particularly great options again. Would not be happy here if I was Ron. Then again, I also wouldn't be caught dead playing this Hunter deck, so you know. He does end up going for the Gastropod Alley Cat, which is a real ugly cat, while Cute Cat's still on one. Grievous Bite again is proving to be a dead card here. Explosive Trap doesn't do anything, he's replayed both Spellstones. Can't help but feel that this game might be a foregone conclusion at this point. Second Mind Control is drawn. I think, as Priest here, you even think about playing a Mind Control just to bait out the Yashiraj. and then control the second one. But now it looks like he's gonna opt to play it safe and continue to hold on to his resources. With 2 Twilight Acolytes and 2 Mind Controls, he can deal with so many large minions that I just don't see a clear path back into this game for Ron. I guess there might be a couple of... I don't know. Just continue building beasts and see what you get. I guess he's thinking about playing the Megasaur Zombies plus Animal Companion to round out his mana curve, but no. Continue to build a beast just adds so much value. Widow has good stats, but not much else. Tundra Rhino has to potentially be extremely explosive if we get like stealth with it. And McCall is just pretty mediocre. I think I would probably go for the Tundra Rhino here. Like, as the hunter, you're in a position that you need to high roll incredibly to win. And Tundra Rhino is definitely step 1 to doing so. You have a stealth Rhino, and you just constantly start charging beasts. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the stealth, assuming he picked the Rhino, so let's hope he picked up one of those stats from the stitched whatever it was instead. Corpse Widow. Corpse Widow? Something Widow. The Death Rattle cheapening thing. Ron does get the Tundra Rhino. It's a 410, which is not terribly statted, but we're gonna see this get mind controlled, most likely. Because there's no good way for the priest to deal with it right now. You do not leave a Tundra Rhino alive for a hunter player ever. And yeah, he is gonna waste, or not waste, spend the first mind control on the Tundra Rhino, which conveniently has charge. And so we might see the Yastraj come down now after having seen the one mind control and just hope that he doesn't have the other one. But nope. Ron does continue to build beasts. Tundra Rhino again. Again, no stealth, which is very unfortunate for him. But at least some of the poisonous stuff lets him continue to fight on board. And he goes for the Gastropod, which is interesting because it's fairly lowly statted, and you... Actually, on second thought, I don't remember the other options. It might have been the only one that was playable this turn. Candle Shot really doesn't do much here, but I guess he can push in one... I think I would have pushed in 1 damage to the Talon Priest just so that if he... Oh wait, no, never mind. This is poisonous. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, please pick Temporis for the memes. It's not a good idea. Fairy Dragon's the best option here, but Temporis memes. I don't like the Hoarding Dragon here just because it gives the hunter more mana to play with Zombeasts. I guess it doesn't matter too much. Flanking Strike's a great pickup here. I think it's better than the other options. I don't... Wandering Monster can be interesting just because it tanks face damage for you, and that's... I'm not sure how you do lose as Priest here. I think the only potential loss condition here is if the Priest player plays too slowly and just lets the infinite value from the Build-A-Beast hero power ramp up. Another Silithid Swarmer. I don't even know how many this is, but I guess with the bow now, it's not the literal worst. It has good stats for his mana cost, and Knuckles and Hyena are both pretty mediocre. I think you legitimately think about playing the Silithid Swarmer here. Not sure if he went for it. Stone Tongue Explorer is great. No, he went for the Hyena. I guess Hyena can pull out some big plays with like Animal Companion. Huffer? Never Huffer. Just not enough belief in the Huffer. Well, he's probably gonna clear out the... maybe. Could clear out the Historian, could just hit face, could hit the 5-6 and Grievous it. All of them sort of, or Arcane Shot it. All of these plays sort of suck. I think maybe you do remove the Draconid Operative just because you do technically win the long game with Build Beast, and somehow this Priest still hasn't drawn either of his Spiteful Summoners. And yeah, it looks like that is what Ron's gonna go for. Continues to not use the Candle Shot yet, which I'm now a little more on board with because the Nether Spy Historian just isn't a high enough profile target to deal with. Draconid Operative number 2 doesn't pull anything particularly exciting. I think Wandering Monster is the correct play here just because it absorbs face damage. But we'll see if that is what he goes for.
I wonder.
More Build-A-Beast action. Razor Maul is a pretty good one, but there's not any beasts for him to combo with, so I think you might go for the Stampede. I don't know, all of these suck. I think think Kodo just for maybe Razor Maul just for like neutral-ish stats.
Which tracks
Again,
to follow?
again, just not great options from these Build-A-Beasts. Bloodworm is starting to get more and more relevant just because life is getting lower and lower, but it's so costly that it's just gonna get mind controlled if it comes down, most likely. This might finally be the time to play that stealth poisonous Megasword that he's been holding forever. And yeah, so he has 6 mana, 6/5. So he ended up going for the Raptor Hatchling, which I guess I'm fine with. Lifesteal's decent here, and it trades with the Operative, but just continues to be mediocre. Explosive Trap here lets you fight on board, or I don't know what it does. Yeah, not great. I think this is where second mind control is coming out. I guess the priest really wants the lifesteal here. It's technically a misplay. Takes 2 more damage because of explosive trap, but honestly, who cares? And I think this is all but over. Hunter can stay alive for another turn with like flanking shot, Grievous Bite or something. See what beast he builds into first. Didn't see what he clicked, but I'm guessing it might be the Terror Tactics Hatchling again. It is. Top Poisonous Adapt. Guess that's not bad. You can play that and then hit the 3/1, but you might just Flanking Strike and Grievous Bites. Or just Flanking Strike instead, yeah. This does put Ron down to 5 health, essentially. And this Draconid Operative is going to have no problems going face. Wonder if we see the Hoarding Dragon come out now. Now he's going to use Northshire and dig for more cards first, see if he can finally pull Free From Emperor or a Spiteful Summoner or just something that does a thing in this deck, but nope. Continues to draw pretty dead, but doesn't really matter because, well, he's just so ahead here. Candle Shot is the only one, although it's funny that Rockdalar pops up. When you're against Spell Hunter, you might instinctively pick Rockdalar and then realize the folly of, rather realize your folly afterwards. Explosive Trap and Candle Shot just represents more and more face damage, and it looks like Adithya Parthasarathy is going to take this 3/1 coming up. Tom Poisonous is going to essentially eat a bit more damage. Plus 3 attack is the only viable adapt here because it already has Taunt and Stealth with the Taunt. This does play a little bit into Twilight Acolyte, but come on man, you're getting wrecked anyways, you gotta go big. Grievous Bite on the 3/3 and attack it. Loses against Cat Trick, but whatever. Wandering Monster is a really nice pickup because it prevents face damage, but we're probably going to see it get eaten up by a Candle Shot Charge. Another Build-A-Beast pulls another Taunt Poisonous Hunter Rhino, which is a pretty good pull. Is this lethal? Yeah, he didn't play Wandering Monster. This is lethal. Duskbreaker and the 1/2 into 6/4 and 5/5. And that is 3/1 by Adithya, and he is going to be my next opponent. Congratulations, sir. Guess I'll try to get a little bit of food in before this series and see when he wants to